My name is Cinzia Ferrara. I work in Milano, and I'm a founder of the studio that is called Ferrara Palladino Lightscape. I was very envious that people that was working on, on garden parks and paysage, they were using this landscape. There was a fantastic way of describing a lot of things around you, which is not only interior, exterior architecture, it was a bigger perspective. So I decided I went for a lightscape. But I must say the truth, that at the very beginning, our studio was called LED. Then, at one moment, we had to change because all the people were calling us saying, please, can you sell us, 100 pieces of them? Can you please give me the quotation for? It was a disaster, which was also lighting, engineering, design. It was both of two. I studied architecture. I did a postgraduate master in lighting design. And then since November or December, I am a CLD. I have CLD certification. I usually work on all the projects, not all the projects, but most of the projects that are in the studio, from the beginning to the last end, even on site, for two reasons. One is because it's quite difficult to delegate certain things. I like to check things if they're okay. And second of all, because clients want to see your face and want to see what you're doing, and now you are into the project. So this is what I do generally. And also what I like a lot is that I don't particularly like one kind of product, one typology. I like the variety. I can't stand doing the same thing all the time. I think that first of all, things have changed during all these years. At the beginning, I remember people were asking me what I was doing, and I was trying to explain, and I remember people looking at me like, huh? What are you doing? What is this about? And now, it's like knowing a lawyer or an architect. Everybody knows somebody, so everybody's telling you, oh yes, light is so important, but I don't know if we are already there. But then I really think that, I used to say that light is like freedom. You give it for granted and you understand the importance only when you don't have it. So that's why I think you have to do it carefully, nicely, and we still have to work on it. That's a tricky question, because I'm very respectful of scientific research, and I'm very grateful for all the research that people are doing. So I wouldn't say anything about that. What I would say is that I think that in the next future, in general in the future, what is going to be the most interesting thing is that we're going to be all more connected, not in the social way, but I'm talking about in terms of real networks of data, research consensus, standards, a lot of things. And this is going to be something we're going to have, and we can work with that, with our clients. For example, showing things easily. If you connect all that with the virtual reality and you put them together, I think that it might be very interesting. Very, very interesting. I think I have a dream project. At this point, I think that we really should concentrate and work for a better world. So it's time to do that. So with unlimited budget and so on, I think I would like to work with a large team on buildings, special buildings like, seniors care, hospital, or centers or prisons where you can work with light and we can really make their life much better than what it is. And also, I think that it would be a fantastic way to demonstrate the important role of lighting in a very good way. And also, I think that in doing that, you really work on the well-being of a large number of people. So, I think this would be my dream. This is a difficult question. I think that what I'm proud of is the project where some sort of interesting things happen, and I can tell you about two projects. One is a museum, which is Punta della Dogana in Venice. Yes, for the project, of course, but mostly because it was an incredible experience working with a fantastic French collector and very, very important minimalist Japanese architect. So, and that team that working together was so, not international in a stupid way, but was very, very interesting and challenging. I really appreciate what we did right away. It was really fantastic. This is one. And the other one, that doesn't have anything to do with it, is we work at a Malpensa airport, and there is a special area which is the arrival, the non-Schengen arrival, which is intercontinental, whatever. And we were working on a bespoke lighting fixture all over, and then there was one point where there was not enough light, and there was no character. So I'm somebody that always think that each one of us should do his own job. So I don't do the architect, even if I am an architect. But in that case, we thought of a solution which is quite interesting, that it's more than saying an architectural solution. What we did was we sort of designed these three sort of wings, one on top of the other, on top of the columns in a special area, because we need to have a little bit more indirect light at a certain point. So, we had a lot of fun. It was very, very interesting. You can imagine an airport, how many controls and meetings and regulation you have, but it was successful. I'm very proud of that too. Maybe not the most important, but the most interesting challenge been another project, which is a memorial in Milan. Again, it's not a museum where you see things, because there is nothing to see. It's just a place where you experience something. So the memorial in Milan, which is under the train station, the main train station, is a place that is, let's say, it's important because during the Second World War, people were taken there, and from there to the concentration camps. So for the first time, we had to think about lighting that was not dedicated to show to show things. It's just to help a sort of unpleasant experience, which means that for once you have to work with glare, direct glare especially, and comfort, I would say really unpleasant light, but in a nice way. So it was, something very different. Because when you are there, sometimes everything is dark, of course, and on top of you, sometimes you hear the trains. So you have the noises of the train. You can imagine people there, they didn't know where they were going or what was going to happen to them. So I was thinking about this idea of having, for example, some sodium, high pressure, low pressure sodium under there, and you were like feeling some sort of discomfort. So the idea was to try to, in a contemporary way, of course, but to try to create something that was at least a little bit Weird. And there's something else, is the project of the Duomo. And that, what was very challenging is that you have dimensions that are very, very big. And a lot of people working for you in order to go on top there and with the projectors, fix them and come back. So you cannot make mistake. Let's say the first and the only one. I think that the exterior was more impressive in terms of distances. Let's say that from the facade, the main facade, and the projector, it's like the distance you have in a football field, you know, this kind of more than 100 meters. So if it's not the right project, if it's not the right aiming, to go back and do again that costs a fortune, and generally the clients don't like that much. In lighting, yes and no, but I think it was quite impressive. And I'm talking about a client. First of all, because I think that half of a project is made by a good client. If you don't have a good client, I doubt about the results. And second, because the client is a fantastic person, very, very curious, passionate, always with a desire of understanding, and even when he decided for things that were not the right ones, in front of everybody said, Cinzia was right, which is something, embarrassing and also very touchy, doesn't happen all the time. So I really learned a lot from that man. I think it goes with Italy, being Italian. Considering the fact that geography, Italy is a sort of a country which is stretched like this, north-south into the Mediterranean. And natural light is so different on the north and the south. And also I think that and this is why maybe I'm also very curious, very interested into art, because if you think of the old masters, Italian old masters, and you look at the light that they have in their paintings, in their frescoes, and you think about Tiepolo, in the north, so you have some sort of rarefied, diffuse, thin air. And you go to the south, of the Caravaggio, and everything is like passionate, with a lot of contrast, violent, extreme. So, what do you want more? I think that mostly is the same all over, because it comes with being a woman in some sort of way. So for a long time, too much, but anyway, too long. We thought that we didn't need to be visible in order to exist. So once you are there, once you do your job, once you do what you have to do, it's fine. And in some sort of way, I must say that maybe it was even easier to delegate. And then one point we understood it was a little bit too late, that we should have done something. And maybe things have changed lately, so I don't think we can delegate anymore. So it's really time to take care of ourselves, because nobody will do for us. So it's us or us. This is what I think. And it's interesting, if I can add something, is that like 3 weeks ago, or a month ago, somebody asked me to draw not a model, because it's a little bit too much, but let's say a human being having new proportions, new ideas connected to our way of life, or whatever it was. And everything was connected to some students' work about this, ergonomic, how did it change, and so on. And I thought that if you think of all the models we have, which is the Leonardo model, the Vitruvian man, even Le Corbusier with the modular. I mean, whatever you think, it's always a man. So I draw a woman. And the phrase under it was, the future is female. And I sent it. I think, because this is what I think, no matter what we do. First, be proud of being a woman, which is not that original, but I think the most important thing is be intellectually independent. That's the most important thing. Just try to follow your track, what is inside of you, and because I think that women can really add a lot of, let's say, a larger perspective, which is always very interesting and very nice.